6. Hello there. How's it going, fam? Look what I just found. That's right, fam. Just found this. Should we try it out? Oh, wow. Less than 5 ingredients with a scan me for a free airdrop. Here's the magic part, fam. Got it right here. Give it a go. Whew. That was amazing. Refreshing. All the salts you need in your electrolyte premix. Definitely check out Crypto Rush now. It even has a bonus creatine. That's right, got to build those strong muscles, help with all that muscle recovery. Crypto Rush gives you the rush that you need to propel yourself throughout the day. Crypto Fam Radio, I'm your host Mountain Dew. Let's go get some Crypto Rush now. Now, I took some notes with me though, Ben, so I wanted to be prepared as much as possible. This is the first time I've been able to do this podcast outside, so really appreciate that you're coming over here and checking us out over here at 111, so thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I'd love to hear, before we get started with your story and everything, how is the Bitcoin conference going?
Actually, yeah, today the first day, the ProPass day, and just all the exhibitors. It was actually really nice. Not too crowded, but there was like a good flow of people. The setup is really good. Everything seems pretty organized. The production value is really nice. I have the speaker pass, so I was able to go in the deep in the whale zone and kind of check that whole vibe out. And yeah, we got a lot of engagement at our Secret Keys booth as well. People are interested about Costa Rica and checking it out. So I'm optimistic. I'm bullish on the event.
Awesome. It's my first time going to the event, Ben. So I decided to take the first day off, obviously, and I'm going to go the second and third day. I just had so much work this morning. I had a few calls, and then I did a 9-mile run real quick, training.
Yeah,
and
just
I
a
noticed,
little 9
just
miles
easy.
quick.
It was supposed to be 13, but the thing is, Ben, like the elevation here is different.
Yeah.
So I was like, and you're going up the entire time. So if you keep going up this road, it just gets higher and higher and higher. So I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm just doing hill training at this point. And I was getting out of breath, so I had to like take a break. I just went back downhill. I just did the highway, and my miles were a lot faster then. So I was like, okay, this is a little better. But it's like everything is so loud once a car passes you because it's so quiet here too, So, but I really enjoy nature. I really enjoy the outdoors and just getting out. And I think one of the things that really attracted me to what you guys are building in Costa Rica is like inviting people on this experience, and getting them settled, getting everything situated for them, and just like taking care of them. And I really like that about crypto. It's like when I first started in crypto, it was all about community, right? Like, sure, you're here to make money, you're here to invest and whatnot, but you meet a lot of great people that they become your friends, right? And those friends turn into real relationships, and you really want to connect. And I felt like through what you have with Secret Keys, you could really connect with people on a very like family-based level. And that's what I really enjoyed about getting to know a little bit about your business when we jumped on a discovery call a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I can't believe we're here today. So yeah, I would absolutely love for you to just kind of introduce yourself and give us a little bit of background about who is Ben. And then after that, we'll roll into like what you're doing over at Secret Keys. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Take it away, fam. Thank you.
So my name is Ben Ashara. And yeah, I've been living in Costa Rica the last 10 years. Before that, I was living in Asia for the last 15 years. I was in India, I was in Indonesia, I lived in Australia a couple of years. I'm originally from the States, from New Orleans. I lived in California, the Bay Area. And I feel like I've lived kind of multiple lives in one. I've been through so many different genres of emanations of myself, I guess you would say.
Beautiful.
And this is the newest one, what we're doing down in Costa Rica. But, it's the one thread that's remained kind of the same through it all is this connection to source, to nature, and wanting to connect with with purpose. Your sense of purpose, sense of doing something meaningful. And, that's what brings real satisfaction in life, is finding that your own unique connection that makes you special, it's the mark that you leave on the world. And and finding that for yourself, and not necessarily need to subscribe to a group vision of what that is, but I feel like we each have something so special, and we just have to find it.
Right, right. How long did it take you to find that special thing about you that could really impact people?
Well, I started pretty young on this path, and a lot of it had to do with, I don't know if it's appropriate to talk about, but psychedelic exploration.
Yeah,
And so
I love that.
that's what kind of led me on this journey of like, what is this place? What are we doing here? And where do I fit in? And so basically in my, I quit university at age 19. I was a philosophy major.
Cool.
And I kind of got to the point where I was like, well, I'm tired of reading about other people's life experiences and I'm ready to have my own. And so that led me on this journey of like, okay, it's time to just travel and discover and try to find out who I am and what's going on. And so the way I did it was just world traveling, backpacking, living on a shoestring, and just being in a moment-to-moment experience every day where there's no routine and there's space for like magic to happen. And then it was also about kind of the power of prayer, but not necessarily a religious thing. It's more of this like conviction with yourself of like, okay, I'm trying to connect with this deeper part of myself. And it's this process of like crystallizing this vision, or crystallizing this essence of like what you're trying to distill out of yourself that is totally uniquely you. And so in my early 20s is when I was doing a lot of this. I was living in India, in the Himalayas. I was hiking around all the Himalayas and going from temple to temple, and just with this thread of like, I want to be a part of something that's bigger than myself. I want to be a part of something that's meaningful, and I want to discover my purpose. And so in my early 20s, when everybody's, you know, partying, going to college, trying to get laid, I was celibate, living in the Himalayas, trying to figure out who I was.
Yeah.
And through that process, it led me down some really interesting life paths. And it all started with kind of the discovery of like plants and these connecting to the earth and connecting to nature through plants. And medicinal plants, more specifically, not even necessarily psychoactive ones, but and trying to figure out like, okay, the earth needs our help right now. It's under siege by humans, by you know, unconscious activity, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done to conserve, to preserve the nature, but also the wisdom traditions that have held this wisdom of the earth for so long. And how can I connect to that? And you know, bring that forward into the modern world. And so that's kind of what brought me on my path, was this connection to plants, serving, being a servant of the earth, and just and then just also just being open, like, okay, and where is that going to lead me next? Because there's not like a fixed. I didn't reach a destination and that was it. It was just I reached something and it just kept leading me to the next thing. But once you find that that thread of that connectivity to source, to your path, once you find it, it may change, but the one thing that doesn't change is that connectivity. So just always being open and aware and allowing that connectivity to guide you.
I love that. I love that. I want to go back to the Himalayas, though. I feel like, you know, you were there for a while in your 20s.
Yeah.
You dropped out of college, right? You went to go find yourself, essentially. I'd love to hear more about why that specific region of the world, and why did you feel so called to that place to find your, I guess, essentially your purpose?
Well, what happened is when I quit school, this was back in the days when you could buy these tickets around the world. I don't know if you recall anything like this. It was like a 1-year open-ended ticket where you could go to multiple destinations and you go all the way around the world. It's not available now, but so what I did is I went from California, I went to Australia, then I went to Indonesia, Southeast Asia, to Nepal, India. Then I went to Africa, South Africa. I traveled up. I hitchhiked from South Africa to Ethiopia. And then I went to Egypt, Israel, and then I flew to Lima, to Peru, went to Bolivia, and all this, and that was the end. And then I went back to California. So through all that journey, I had like, okay, I had a snapshot of a huge portion of the planet, and I had a feeling for like, what each place had to offer experientially. And what I found is that India's and the Himalayas and Nepal and this kind of region had, for me in that moment, the richest kind of spiritual access. It was like, and it was also this kind of one of the cheaper places to travel. Back in those days, I was living on
Okay,
like
fair enough.
$200 a month, if you can believe it.
Oh my God. When was this?
This was
the 80s, 70s?
This was the late 90s.
90s. Wow.
Yeah, and even
that's
like
incredible.
99 to 2004 or something like that, you could still live on
That's amazing.
very little money. But it was like a spiritual playground. It had
Yeah.
all the Hindu culture, the Buddhist culture, and the fusion
Yeah.
of those. There was so much knowledge. There was so much like information
Yeah.
to draw from.
Yeah.
And so I just felt like, okay, this is the place where I can really dive deep and explore how those lineages will react with my consciousness, and how that connectivity with those lineages will like birth something out of me. It just felt like that was the move, more than some of these other nations and cultures which have also beautiful history and culture, but it just felt like the information wasn't as accessible due to the documentation of it. Like in Asia, they're really good at documenting their religion and their history. As opposed to other more pre-Columbian or like tribal nations, it's more like passed down word of mouth or passed down generation to generation.
Oh, I see. And you said something about plants that was really interesting, I thought. And it's like being connected to the ground. Like, is that very like a big deal in India? Like, or being an herbalist or being like knowing the plants and getting, because I feel like that's another reason why you were attracted to that location, that area.
I mean, in Asia, there's a huge old lineage in India, there is the system of Ayurveda.
Okay.
And Chinese medicine is also a super old system of herbal medicine. And then in Tibet, they also have Tibetan medicine. So the China going into the Tibetan Himalayas and then down into the Indian Nepali Himalayas is a huge, rich culture of herbal traditions.
Okay.
And so it had, the plants, are embedded into the culture and how we interact with them. Now, of course, modern medicine has changed that, but and in certain senses, modern medicine has its place in the world. But I feel like it's also taken up too much space, and actually, so bringing in those wisdom traditions of bringing back that ancient knowledge and even inspiring the locals who have kind of put it by the wayside to show our appreciation for it, and then to be like, oh yeah, we have this beautiful thing, and oh yeah, it is special. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to see what's special about where you come from. And so a lot of my time was spent being an ambassador, going back into these villages and be like, hey, what about these plants that you have all around you? You're like, this is amazing, this is special, let's work to grow them, let's work to protect them. And they're like, oh yeah, maybe we should.
Maybe we should. It's like saving the Amazon, right? It's like, oh, maybe we should, like we're destroying our earth. And it makes me feel so sad. I'm like thinking of Avatar now, but it's like, it's kind of like that in a lot of ways. And I'm like, why? When it's like, when you're connected to the earth offers you so much more than anything man-made. It's really shown me that when I was up in not Alaska, I did live in Alaska, but Colorado last year, and I was up in the mountains by myself doing like this, but up there, and I got to really connect with the earth and just really appreciate like what God has given us over the past few years, and it took me the risk of buying like a teardrop and just going out and just doing my own thing, and going to the next level and just not really caring about like safety. Like, of course I was safe, but like just doing my own thing, I guess, like being independent. And I feel like a lot of people, they hold themselves back, right? When they try to go out and they try to live their life like they want. And I really appreciate that you did this like back in the day, like when it was like not cool to be a digital nomad, but I feel like we didn't have social media to share with us, right? Yeah. So it's like you didn't have much influence, I guess. It's so different with influences now, right? So it's like taking that story to Costa Rica now, though, it's like that's a massive jump. And I'd love to hear this story of like, why didn't you just like stay in India or the Himalayas and just try to do it there, you know? Like, I feel like that was your happy place for so many years. So I'm very curious, like, why the jump to Costa Rica, and then like what prompted you to do that massive move, right?
Yeah, it was a big change, and the reason I did it is because I started a family, and I was raising my children. They were small at the time,
Yeah.
and as much as I wanted to have a big impact environmentally in India, it's like it's already too far gone. It's like even the work that we were doing we're in very remote, high altitude locations, and we were making an impact, but it's such a huge job. And India was like, was at that time a billion and a half people.
Wow.
And the pollution, the
right.
overpopulation, the sanitation issues
Right.
were just way far beyond what I could make an impact doing. So at some point I had to be like, okay, I've carried this torch for these medicinal plants in the Himalaya. I've educated people, I've educated villagers, and I've made things happen. And now I'm going to give this torch to them for them to carry for themselves. And it's time for me to move to somewhere where I can protect my family and their health and optimizing their health, because I didn't want my kids breathing, burning plastic.
I get that. I can see that. Yeah.
And so I was like, where can I be that optimizes my own health, my kids' health? And so I looked everywhere, and I found that Costa Rica pretty much had like the perfect balance for that health optimized lifestyle, but also not being so remote and so far off the grid that I didn't have a life, or that my kids didn't have other people to interact with. So it's kind of like, was that perfect medium. And because I work remotely,
Right.
it was kind of like, okay, this place checks most of the boxes.
Got you. And you've never been to Costa Rica before?
I hadn't been, no. I did a trip specifically to scout it. I scouted the whole country, and I had some friends who had lived there and who had told me about it.
Yeah.
But it seems like I had saved Central America for later. I like saved this little gift for myself, that I didn't travel, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be able to enjoy this later.
So that was one of the few places you didn't get to go to that
Exactly.
you wanted to go in your earlier years.
Well, I didn't actually necessarily want to go, but it's kind of like secretly my subconscious saved it for me.
Got you. So actually, follow up, is that why it's called Secret Keys?
Secret Keys is kind of a play on the crypto, secret key, right? Like it's like it's the one thing that you have to hold sacred, that you have to keep from everyone, that it is like the most important thing that you have to hold dear to yourself, because if you're not holding your key, then not your key, not your coins, right?
Right.
And so it was kind of a play on that, and also just being like, okay, I'm doing consulting work, I have information, I have secrets, I have keys for people who want to move to Costa Rica, who want to relocate, who want to invest, who want to make a big life transition. I have these secret keys that I hold, that I have picked up along the way, that I have to share with people.
Got you. But it could work both ways. I'm just saying. Since it was your last secret place, you could say that that's part of your origin story or something. I don't know. That could be fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's open to everyone's interpretation.
Okay, I want to know, how did you get into crypto? I always love asking that question, because I feel like that's important, since obviously, we're both in the crypto. We're going to a crypto conference. I always love asking that.
I mean, I was living in San Francisco in the kind of 2000s, the first, 2000, 2010, 2015 in and out. And I remember I heard about it. Pretty sure I heard about it the first time in 2012 or something like that. Okay. Somebody was like, "Oh, you heard about this Bitcoin thing?" And at that point, it was like $250.
I was gonna say,
coin.
That's way early. Yeah.
Something like that. But even at that point, I was like, I don't know, what is this thing like? And my whole thing was, I wish I would have bought some.
Right.
But I was like, I can't invest in something I don't understand, and it's far above my head. But then, 2016, I bought my first Bitcoin. It was $2,000 at the time. And so I've been in the space for about 10 years, and it just became obvious at that time that things were happening. It was the beginning of that first bull run to 20,000, right?
Right.
So it was just people around me were all in the buzz, and I had some funds to invest, and I was like, okay, this seems like a good thing. I still don't quite understand it, but I'm gonna get into it.
Yeah.
And and then it's just been a whole process of like, because it's been a part of my investment strategy, I've decided to learn. I started doing technical analysis. I really started to learn how to read charts. It's like, if you're in it, you should know how it works.
Right.
So I always tell people, like, there's so many people. I don't know if you do TA or anything like that.
I used to, but it's not my favorite thing, if I'm being real. Like, I understand the fundamentals,
Right.
but at the end of the day, I just don't want to be staring at a screen the whole time, right? Like, I know.
100%.
I know I can put a stop loss, whatever. I can put, what this
You got
and
your
that.
fib levels, you got
Yeah,
your moving averages,
yeah,
you got your
yeah.
your time period charts, and that's, but I find it still kind of odd how there's a lot of crypto Bitcoin people that have not put any effort into learning
really?
the
I know
charts,
just
and they're
the
big
basics.
investors,
Really?
and they're just living on total just hopium and trust.
Or maybe they got in early, right? Their buddies told them, and they're just sitting on a bunch, right?
But even then, it's like, it doesn't take that much effort to figure out, to learn the basics. And I don't do day trading, and I think that's super stressful. I don't look at the screens all day. I do look at the charts every day, though.
Yeah.
10 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm like, okay, what's going on? What happened today? What are the candles doing?
Yeah.
And I try to stay informed just a little bit, but not to a point where I'm like, day trading is way too stressful.
Yes, I totally agree with you there. I did some futures trading last year on Bitcoin, and I made some money, and then I lost more money, and I was like, this is stupid. Okay, I'm just kidding. Like, it definitely takes time to learn, right? But it's like, at least I tried, all right? And I know the basics, and I'm just like, I get my alpha from my friends, basically, that know it better than me. And it's, at the end of the day, it's really hard for me to really, like, it's so unpredictable. It's so volatile. So even when you think, oh, I need to be shorting, no, I need to be longing, and I need to keep longing. Oh, it's gonna keep, and then it drops, and you're like, crap, and I don't know. I have mixed feelings with it. I know how to do it. I've had a lot of bad experiences too, but I've had some good ones, and I feel like I kind of balanced out. So I'm like, all right, I feel like I'm just better at just promoting and just interviewing and just like staying in my own lane, right? Like, I feel like a lot of people, they try all these different things, and then they get stressed out because they're so dispersed, where if they just focused on a few things that they're really good at, they could be a lot more successful. And that's kind of where I've landed. And I'm like, if I'm not doing what I love, what am I doing, right? TA is not what I love. Like, I get it. I just DCA, full transparency. I think DCAing is one of the best things you can do over time. Your bags will go up regardless. This is what I tell anyone in crypto just getting into it that knows nothing about the charts. DCAing, that's your best friend. Do a little bit every day, just stack. And you're okay, And I think, honestly, that's the best policy moving forward, because for people that do believe in crypto, which I know we both do, we're in it, and it's like, if we don't have time to look at the charts, that's cool. And if, like, we don't care, which I don't in a lot of ways, but I'm like, just DCA, because it is going to go up. There is no hopium. Like, it's coded, right? Like, I am a big believer in this. Like, I'm doing it full time. I'm living out of a teardrop, for goodness sake, because this is how much I believe in crypto, right? Just not in Bitcoin, just not in Ethereum, like all of the different cryptocurrencies, but the communities on these different blockchains that have these amazing projects and businesses and platforms that really want to build a better version of tomorrow, right? Because we know Web 2 isn't cutting it. We know traditional business is gone. We know with AI technology, like just with what we have today, we need to be moving in that direction, right? But we need to be doing this too, like human interaction. And this is why I love conferences and doing like real live podcast interviews, because then I get to really actually meet people, just not through a screen. Like, I'm really grateful that you're here, by the way, Ben. Thank you again. But it's like, these kind of stories is what you can't really get off a screen, in my humble opinion. And it's something that I know I'm really good at. So I just have to keep doing it, because I know it's going to get to a level where I'm going to be able to do this like full time and do it around the world. and really just tap into people's stories that really have something to share and something to give back, right? So.
Well, it sounds like you're crystallizing that vision, you're finding
trying.
that thread, or you found it, and
Yeah.
you're following it. You're on your path. You found this unique
Yeah,
thing about yourself that you want to express,
I
and
do.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And I just want to inspire others to do the same, and I've seen
Exactly.
your journey and I've been through your website and I absolutely love what you're doing in Costa Rica. And I really want to go one day. Like, that's another follow-up question I had of like, tell me a little bit about Secret Keys. I guess this is where we can get into Secret Keys a little bit. Tell me about your mission, your vision, what you're trying to do in Costa Rica, and how you think it'll help people.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, basically, the reason we're at the conference is we're bringing the message that, those of us who've been living in Costa Rica, and for the past 5 years, we've been living in this reality where we can live on Bitcoin 100%. The ecosystem, the technology that's been developed there with the Bitcoin Jungle app, through Bull Bitcoin and a few other affiliates, have basically made it possible that you can live 100% off sats, you can be totally unbanked, and it's a reality. It's not just a dream anymore. And there was always the use case, you can't use Bitcoin, you can't use crypto. Well, we're seeing that is slowly getting eroded away, and in Costa Rica, it's kind of the easiest place to do it. So it's like, okay, this energy is coming to Costa Rica anyway, and I thought, well, I had to do it the hard way. I had to relocate my family without much guidance. I had a few friends to ask, a few tips and tricks, but there was no real service or guidance for people like me who were just like, trying to figure out, like, how do I integrate into this new space? So I'm like, okay, I've done it for 10 years now.
Wow.
I brought my 7-year-old son. I've had a child there. So I've raised 2 kids there, and I've bought and sold property. I've built homes, I've established permanent residency. I've been through all these processes, and I'm like, okay, well, I have this wealth of knowledge, and for other people who want to come and experience this, I can help make their transition smooth. Because otherwise, honestly, it's there's a lot of nuance, and it can be tricky. And if you don't speak Spanish, or if you're limited, or if you get in the wrong hands with the wrong realtor and the wrong lawyer, and you can end up with a real bad taste in your mouth, and you'll be like, screw this Costa Rica thing,
Yeah.
So, that can go for any country, anywhere. So and when you're making this big transition, you're trying to make a life shift. It's more of just making a place shift. It's like you're trying to change your life, and whether you know it or not, it's happening. So my goal is like, okay, let me help you, help you understand, like, how it is to enter into a new country, how to tread lightly, how to be kind and respectful to the locals, and how to not just come in with this arrogant kind of gringo energy, and or like enter into a new space and be like, think that you know everything, and then come and just like complain about how everything in America is more organized or something like that. It's like, no. Like, come and like just listen for a while and observe, and and take the time to really feel like, okay, what is this place? Why am I attracted to this place? And what can I offer to this place? Because it's not just about coming and taking. It's like, okay, what can I offer? And at first, you can just offer, your kindness and your respect. And the Costa Ricans will really match your energy. If you come with that energy, they're going to give it right back to you. If you come with this complainer, disgruntled energy, you're going to get that too. But my hope is that, that I can help people avoid having bad experiences through being uninformed. Because when you're informed, then you can make the right choices.
Right.
And so that's kind of what Secret Keys do. We act as consultants, we act as liaisons to make sure that your transition is smooth, peaceful, and you get what you want out of it.
I love that. So essentially a tour guide.
Not really. There's a few terms that I don't like. Like
Sure, you
some
don't
people,
like tour guide.
some
Okay.
people are, some people are kind of like, oh, so you do concierge service. I'm like,
Or concierge.
you
No,
know, it's like
not
I'm
quite, I
not there to
guess.
be your butler. You know,
Sure, sure. Not
I
there to
like
hold your hand kind of
I'm
deal.
there. Well, I can do a little hand
Okay.
holding, but I'm not like I'm not, you know, a butler. Let's say,
Okay.
you know, so like I prefer the term liaison or kind of
Liaison.
like ambassador. Like I'm
Okay.
here to work with you
Got you.
to help
Got
you
you.
get
I like that.
to get you to the right place.
Okay.
But I'm not here kind of to be your bitch, you know. So
Got you. I feel you. I feel you there. Yeah, yeah. Like you don't own me. Like we're in this together. We're partners, right? Like I'm showing you, and
I'm here to
you're
give
getting
advice.
advising role,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like consulting, like you said earlier, right? I
Exactly,
like
yeah.
consulting. Yeah, that definitely makes the playing field a little more even. I love that. So, what's your typical client? Who's your audience? You would say.
So I would say the someone who really wants to make a move to Costa Rica, and usually the first step when people come is the people who are really serious about making a move. The first thing they start to do is look at property. They'd be like, okay, I want to invest in something. I want a piece of this paradise to call my own. And so those are the general clients that I attract. It's kind of like that'll be the first point of contact. It's be like, okay, you engage in a 6-month contract with me. You give me your budget, your criteria, and your vision, your goals, what you're trying to achieve in Costa Rica. Give that all that information to me. I'm gonna scour through all the listings. I'm gonna deal with all the agents that I trust, and I'm gonna come back with the best possible options for you and save you a bunch of time and energy. Because there's dozens of websites. There's not like a very organized MLS system in Costa Rica. It's very mishmash. A lot of the agencies like don't even have their websites aren't even updated. So you might look at a website and you think, oh, that looks great. It was sold 5 years ago, you know. So there's a lot of hurdles to actually arrive to the place. And unless you have time to spend a bunch of time in Costa Rica looking at tons and tons of properties, it's really hard to find the one, and you might get kind of discouraged but if you do it with me, I'm going to be sending you listings every week. We're going to pick half a dozen of the best ones. We're going to plan a trip for you to come down.
Cool.
We're going to see the top properties, and then you're either decide yes or no, or we'll continue the search. And then through that process, I'll understand, okay, and now I understand really what this person wants, and we're going to get there closer. And I love the process too, because I love checking out properties is one of the best ways to explore a country. There's so many magical nooks and crannies of Costa Rica that you would never find if you didn't just go farm hunting or property hunting. So
Right.
I just love the process.
I love that. I love that. So it kind of sounds like you're like a real estate agent, but you're not a real estate agent.
Yeah, because
that way?
exactly, because I'm not an agent, so I don't have my own inventory.
Okay.
So I also don't have my own agenda to sell my inventory.
True.
So that's where it's more. I'm more of like a real estate liaison.
Okay. So you work with other agents, let's
I
say.
do. I work with a
Okay.
ton of agents
Got you.
who I have relationships with, who I trust, who I
Okay.
know how to navigate
Okay.
with.
Got you.
And it's also to make sure you don't end up with a bad agent who sells you a lemon, because there's a lot of guys out there who just want to convert.
They're shady.
And
Yeah.
you might not know, like, oh, it doesn't have legal water, or you won't be able to get permits for this, or there's a lot of little nuance that you'll never know without having time and experience there.
Got you. Got you. So you said something earlier, or maybe you said it before, about Bitcoin is a big deal in Costa Rica, right? So it's like, I'd love to hear more about how you found that out, because from what I heard in the news, El Salvador was supposed to be like, they're building Bitcoin City right now, and whatever in there, they've got Bitcoin on their legal tender, right? So, or they used to, but I don't think they do anymore.
Right.
But still, they still accept Bitcoin. So I'm like, how is like Costa Rica different in that way? Could you share a little bit about the Bitcoin history of why that specific country is so like ingrained in the whole Bitcoin currency? I think that's really interesting.
Well, it's still pretty new, to be honest. Like after COVID, the programmer, the developer for Bitcoin Jungle, his name's Lee. He moved down. It was either in 2020, 2021, and so the whole thing is still pretty fresh. But he had a great idea and a great vision, and he built it on a grassroots level from the ground up. And he did a great job of just creating a community and like educating locals. And mostly he started by, well, first of all, he put in the time to learn Spanish really well. And then he started working with people at farmers markets. And he started to educate the basic vendors, the people that sell you eggs and fruit and vegetables and arts and crafts. And he was really working in that community to help them understand how they can convert these Bitcoin little sats that they were picking up every month, and how that's going to help grow abundance for them. And to be honest, then it just kind of grew from there. And then the major game changer, what happened is when Bitcoin Jungle started collaborating with Bull Bitcoin. Bull Bitcoin is an exchange out of Canada. And Bull Bitcoin figured out how to subvert the need for full adoption by plugging in directly the app, plugging it into the banking system. So here in Costa Rica, we have a system called SynPay, which is kind of like the way Zelle works. So if you have a phone number, I can send you money. It's a bank-to-bank kind of transfer on small scale.
Nice.
So Bull Bitcoin figured out how to, okay, we're going to do the conversion, but it's all just going to be built into the app. So there's no need to like, I remember back in the day, I used to be, okay, if I want to spend my Bitcoin, I'd be like, okay, got to sell it on Kraken, got to withdraw it to my bank account, got to wire it to myself, and then I got to go to an ATM and pull it out. It's like
so many steps.
And the app, all of a sudden, I was able to like build my house using just the app.
Wow.
Going to the hardware store, buying thousands of dollars worth of,
Just on the app.
construction materials.
Oh, wow.
And they didn't even, the hardware store didn't even know I was using Bitcoin.
Really? Oh, wow.
They don't even need to know.
No, that's so cool.
As long as they had an IBAN number, a bank account, then I was able to pay them with Bitcoin. Wow. And so for the past 3 years, that's been the reality for us in Costa Rica. It's made it possible so that you can buy anything, anywhere in the country, regardless of adoption, regardless of acceptance, with Bitcoin. And it's very Bitcoin centralized. They're a Bitcoin maxi community.
Right.
There are some other, there's another organization, I think it's called like Blockchain Jungle or something, and they're kind of working a little bit more in the altcoin space, but they're not as organized and not as established as the Bitcoin Jungle crew.
Gotcha.
But that's kind of like what makes the whole thing possible down there. There's also another firm that we work with called Digiplat, which means digital plata, digital money, Digiplat Solutions. And they are the people who, if you want to do large property acquisitions, they're an off-ramp and a crypto escrow for multi-million-dollar property deals, or, okay, it doesn't have to be multi-million, it can be a few $100K, it can be, whatever.
Yeah.
But they take what Bitcoin Jungle, wherever they stop, then the bigger scale is handled by Digiplat. So.
Gotcha.
And that's part of what Secret Keys does. We're just there to educate, to make sure you have all the information, to be informed. So, you're like, oh, okay, this is how it works. There's no guesswork. There's no research. It's just like, okay, we're going to tell you how it works, and you're going to have this all of a sudden at your fingertips.
Wow, that's so easy. Why don't we have that in the U.S.?
Because,
regulation.
There's not like a universal payment system like SynPay.
Yeah.
There's things like Zelle.
Right.
There's the like Venmo, PayPal,
Right.
Cash App. There's like what you have to do in the States right now is you have to be what I call a Bitcoin ninja or a crypto ninja. It's like if you want to like live completely off Bitcoin, you gotta know.
I'm trying.
You gotta know, like you gotta have 10 apps.
Yeah.
And 10 different credit cards
So
that may or may not survive the next 6 months, that may get canceled. Yeah. And you might have to buy gift cards on BitPay to book your Airbnbs, like.
So
it's
tough.
You gotta ninja it, and it's possible. It's just not streamlined.
It's not. It's tough.
And so
it's really tough. Like the easiest for me is Robinhood.
Right.
So Robinhood's been really easy, and they seem to take less fees than any other exchange. And so I've been literally just doing it through Robinhood and just sending it to my account. So, And unfortunately, I still have to have a bank account. I don't want one, but that's another thing.
Well, that's the thing
Get
is
rid of.
the Jungle app is actually you don't even need a bank account.
That's
so that makes
cool.
the whole
That's super
that's the
cool.
big difference.
Right.
And but you can still do it like I guess what is it? Square now takes Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, I
And
heard
then
about
like
Stripe
you
is
know
starting to as well. Yeah.
and then Cash Apps and PayPal. So you can
Mm-hmm.
kind of still get away
Right.
without banking, but there are going to be some moments where you're gonna need a bank account.
Yeah, I know.
It's
See,
kind of
that's why I
annoying.
still have just one. I got rid of a lot of them though, but I'm just down to one now. And I'm like, if I can get rid of this, that would make my world so much easier. I'm so close. I'm so close. Crypto.com actually is really close to being your own bank. They're
Okay.
FDIC insured, so you can use it kind of like a bank account, but it's still not, I don't know, it's not clearly
Doesn't
a bank
Kraken
account.
have like a crypto bank
I
now?
think so. I've heard about that as well, but I don't do Kraken, but
But I guess it's just for lazy people who don't want to be custodians of their money.
maybe
It's like
that could be it
it's
too.
like crypto bank. It's like
Yeah.
it's not really what it's trying to do, and that's why I'm,
Mm-hmm.
I've got issues with the whole XRP revolution, because I'm kind of
Really?
like, yeah, because they're just trying to enable banks,
I feel that,
you know,
yeah. And then the bank's gonna have their own stable coins, right? And then they're gonna make you buy their coins,
the
and it's gonna,
CBDCs,
yeah,
they're gonna
the
program your
BCs,
money, and
yeah.
then it's the slavery system, all over
Again,
again.
all over again. I'm like, aren't we trying to get out of that system? Isn't that why we got into crypto in the first place? So I don't. Like, I love XRP, don't get me wrong. Like, there's so many great people. Like, I'm actually going to go to the XRP conference
Okay.
right after the Bitcoin conference. But I don't call myself a maxi. I'm chain agnostic, right? So,
Okay.
and I'm a big believer in, like, the people behind these projects, right? I really like the people. I don't really, like, if we could just be friends and just that, I would be happy. But of course, it's like they love XRP, and I'm actually going to be making a pitch. They have this whole Shark Tank thing going on.
Okay.
With these brothers. They do it every year at the XRP conference, and we're pitching the digital nomad initiative that we're doing here. So I don't know, to say all that, like there's some great blockchains out there. But there's some not so great ones either at the same time, but no matter which blockchain you care for, you don't care for, they all have their little quirks, right? They all have their little things, the pros and cons, right?
Yep.
And I think this is why we kind of align ourselves with certain blockchains and keep away from others. But I still feel like it's important to learn all of them. Like, if you really love crypto and you see it going long term, which I know we both do, we should spend time and learn about each of these blockchains because they are a little different. They work differently. There's different protocols, different nodes attached to, and how they're built, and like, especially when I was at ETH Denver a few months ago. So talking about crypto conferences, the first time I ever went to ETH Denver, I learned a lot about Ethereum. I still don't like their gas fees, unfortunately.
It's really annoying to move it around.
They have been reduced, but still, it's not like Solana, right? So it's like, I love like the whole vision that Vitalik has had, is really a great way to build, to network, to leverage when you're trying to build a Web3 company. But it's just like the whole gas fee thing really kind of blew me. And it's still today, it's just annoying because even through your stables, like I was like, how much is it to swap over my stable ETH to just ETH? Like, it doesn't cost me almost $9 for $250. I'm like, why is it costing me $9? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Make it make sense. Like, it's better than $40. I remember when I used to do swaps on ETH meme coins, I was paying how much for gas fees when it was really high. This was when the meme coin season was booming back in 2024. Everyone was like making money, right? So I didn't mind paying it then, of course, because I was making more than what I was trading. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like every blockchain has its problems, but at the end of the day, we're in it because of this whole decentralization, right? DeFi, trying to have that freedom to own our own wallet, right? Own our own keys, own our own money. And I don't like what the banks are doing. So it's like looking outside of the US. And this is like my long-term plan. And I'm sure this is yours as well because you're already there. You're in Costa Rica. Do you feel like you're going to be there for like a while building, or do you feel like you want to jump around, or is that kind of like back in the day since you had your family? But it's like when you get to this point, I've heard too, like I don't have kids, but you know, they grew up, right? And then they move away and they do their own thing, and you're going to be like empty nesters. Are you guys still going to be there, or you want to go travel again? I'm curious.
Well, I have two boys, 17 and 9. So
Okay.
my 17-year-old is going to be off to university at the end of the year.
Wow, congrats.
He's going to chiropractic school in New Zealand.
Whoa,
So it's pretty cool.
cool.
And so I have about another 8 or 9 years
Sure.
before my second one is gone. And we're going to be in Costa Rica.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, every time I go travel now, I'm just like, home is better.
Yeah, cool.
100%. And I'm like an
Love
avid traveler. I used to love traveling, addicted to traveling. And now I just kind of, every time I go, I'm just like, just
I
want
miss
to
it.
get home. Yeah.
Want to get home. Is that how you feel currently?
Well, I haven't been gone long enough.
Okay. Yeah, when did you get in? Sunday or Monday?
Let's see.
Or no, Saturday.
When did I fly in?
It's still the same time zone, right?
I think I flew, no, on Saturday I flew to LA and then
Okay.
I stopped at a friend's place in Joshua
cool.
Tree, and then I got
Nice.
to, Sunday I got to Vegas, yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna be in the States for 2 weeks. So as long as I know
okay.
I'm going home, I'll be okay. I can manage.
Right. You got 2 weeks. So this is something interesting. So after the Bitcoin conference, I assume you're not going to XRP. So.
No, I'm just gonna go I'm actually on a visiting old friends tour.
Oh, cool.
I'm gonna go to LA, and then I'm gonna go to the
Okay.
Bay Area.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna reconnect with some old friends that I haven't seen, and some of them over 10 years or 20 years. I feel like wow, it's time to just like throw an olive branch out there and just like connect with some of these old friends that were so important to me 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But then we've just kind of like all went our separate ways, and and everyone's found their own path. And I'm like, well, I want to see what everybody's up to.
I love that. I love that. You're doing the grand tour back again. That. No, I think it's important to reconnect with old friends, like especially from college or even past that. It's like I've had a lot of time to reflect as well. I've been out of college for like 10 years now, but still, it's like I went to the school up University of Alaska in Fairbanks. I studied there, journalism and PR, one of the best journalism schools.
Really cool.
Yes, very northernmost university you can go in the U.S.
Maybe
Another college.
Yeah, there's not many others further north.
Yeah, I could say.
Maybe in Russia somewhere.
I went to the northernmost college. It might be a community college, maybe in some native village I don't know about, but it's the only like state university, right, northernmost, that you can go to in the U.S. So I can hold that. And like looking around, and I just want to admire the nature we have. We haven't really spent a lot of time with this landscape. This reminds me a lot of Alaska in a lot of ways. Obviously not the Joshua trees or the desert landscape, but the mountains, right? The mountains you see like right here. And it's just something about the mountains that just, it ties everything together when you're thinking about nature and you're thinking about your life and the circle of life, right? Like the Lion King. And it's like, you just got to be reminded of like how good we have it still, and I'm just so appreciative of it. And I know Costa Rica's got mountains too, right? Like it's got like different landscapes. You got the beach, right? You got the beach, you got the mountains, you got the tropical forest, right?
Yeah.
You've got it all. Like, what do you not have?
We don't have snow.
Well, you don't want that. So. Seriously, if you keep going up this road, I encountered snow. If you go another 20 minutes, you just keep going. Yep, you just keep going up. And that was our original camp spot for the show. Like this guy, he lives in Vegas. He sent me the Google coordinates. And that was the first coordinates I sent you. And I just kept going up. I was like, this isn't going to work. Like, it was getting cold. There was snow on the ground. I'm like, we're not going to do the show here. So I just turned around and went all the way back down here. And I'm like, all right, there's no snow. This is great. So Costa Rica doesn't get snow at all, like even in the wintertime? Or is there like winter?
I've heard at the very top peak.
Because you got mountains.
There's like, our highest peak is over 3,000 meters, so it's about 10,000 feet.
Okay.
And I have heard of snow falling there, but not sticking.
Okay.
So it doesn't really stick. We don't really get it. Snow's not part of the picture. But, we have everything. We got these beautiful, lush, juicy, jungly mountains. We have more arid kind of mountainous regions as well. We have the Caribbean Sea. We have the Pacific Ocean. We've got volcanoes. We got hot springs. The ocean is warm all year round. It's about 80 degrees.
Would you compare it to like Hawaii?
I'd say the ocean's even a little bit warmer.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, Hawaii, you're really in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's a whole different vibe. Hawaii has its own. I love Hawaii.
Yeah.
Special place, powerful place.
Yeah.
The climate is similar,
Mm-hmm.
but the energy in Costa Rica is totally different.
The energy. What do you say? What do you mean by that? Like the energy. I want to dig deeper in that.
Well,
a little bit.
culturally,
Okay.
right? It's Latino culture.
Sure.
There's pre-Columbian history there, whereas in Hawaii it is Polynesian.
Right.
There's been just different history played out there. So yeah, it's just culturally, energetically different in that way. Okay,
Okay.
maybe some of the plant. There's coconuts.
Right.
There's there's beautiful beaches. There's
Yeah.
a lot of things that are similar.
Right.
But the nature, like in Costa Rica, we have so many more birds and animals and creatures. In Hawaii, much less.
That's true. Yeah, I spent a bit of time in Hawaii too. So my parents, they're military. I was a
Okay.
military brat, so every 4 years. And after Alaska, that's how I got up to Alaska actually. It was military 4 years, right? After Alaska, they went to Colorado for 4 years, and then after that, Hawaii for 4
Okay.
years. So it was really interesting the amount of, I don't know, just exotic places I used to jump around, right? So I did a lot of traveling even before I started my digital nomad life right after college as a wedding photographer. I did a lot of destination weddings and stuff. So it's funny how like the traveling bug just like never, well, in my life it hasn't stopped, but for you it has. So I find that really interesting, because just, I don't know, your whole sense, because like, I don't know, I always see like you traveling. You seem like this kind of person that needs to move, or it's like if you're not moving, you're not like growing, You ever feel like that as a person?
I could say that the majority of my life, my adult life, has been lived like that, 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
But something has shifted,
Because
particularly for me.
the family part you said, right?
And even, even when my kids were younger, we moved around a lot. I traveled with them a lot. And I think it also was really positive for them to just get exposure. But now I feel like I'm 47 now, and I feel like it's all self-preservation from here on out. And so
I feel you.
it's like when I'm traveling, I'm finding like, okay, I'm sleeping in hotels, I'm eating in restaurants, I lost my routine. I'm not working out. I'm not eating the healthiest, So I feel like I miss all those, basic things. Like I don't know what water I'm drinking when I'm traveling. When I'm at home, I know I'm drinking spring water straight out of the ground.
Right.
I know where my eggs come from. I know where the
Right.
fish comes from. I know how it's prepared with what oils, or what, everything is just, I've gotten to this point where just like I really like the way that I create my reality. And when I'm traveling,
It's out
I
of your
lose control, yeah.
Oh, I see that. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Whereas before, when I was young, I didn't care. I was just like, I'm on
Right.
adventure. Everything is amazing. I want to try everything.
Right.
And
matter
I
how-
didn't even, I didn't even think, routine. Like, I didn't want a routine. That sounded
Okay.
boring.
Yeah.
But now I
Huh.
see the value in it because it's part of what keeps me healthy and keeps me grounded.
Yeah.
Is to have that. So it's like, there's a phase of life for every time period of your life, It's like, so for me personally, as I get older now, it's like and I still feel young, to be honest. I still feel great.
That's great.
But it's, but in order to maintain that, I've got to preempt getting old.
Right.
It's all prevention.
Yeah.
Because if you wait, until it catches up to you, you might show signs of like illness,
Right.
sickness, and then you're like, oh, I'm sick now. I have to heal myself. So the idea is to never get sick,
Right.
and just make sure you live a healthy lifestyle.
Definitely. Yeah.
And so being grounded, being at home, making your own food, growing your own food,
Right.
drinking the water that you know is the best, and just being in the optimized environment for your health is what it's all about.
That's huge. Yeah, we didn't even talk much about, so you have your own garden, you have your own farm, you make everything like from yourself, like with your own hands, like.
Yeah, so
That's
one of the things that I did when I first moved to Costa Rica was I bought properties and I planted them up. I was like, the first thing before I built a house,
yeah.
I was like, I planted the whole thing out with fruit trees. So
Wow.
now my trees are, 8, 10 years old and they're all fruiting.
Yeah.
So now I've got like tons of food, like more than I know what to do with. Now, I don't live 100% off of it,
Okay.
but I could if I needed to.
Okay.
So it's there as like my insurance policy.
Yeah.
This ability to live off the land 100% is something that
That's so
I feel
cool.
like a lot of people aspire to the idea, but they think it's not attainable.
Right.
And, while my diet would be less interesting than it is now, I definitely could live off the food that's there. And it feels good. I feel secure in that, in these weird times that we're living in where our food supply is under attack, our supply chains are, shaky at best, and all this fight over oil and reasons. The moment they turn off the oil tap is the moment everything stops, and then we're left with what we have. So I know in Costa Rica nobody is going to go hungry there because everybody has a grandmother who has a farm, who's got pigs, who's got cows, who's got chickens, who's got fruit trees.
Love that.
So
Yeah.
I also wanted to join in on that, and it's one of the things I want to inspire people who work with me at Secret Keys.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we have this, and it's also this whole Bitcoin crypto thing. It's like this idea of sovereignty, right? Like we want to be free to make our own decisions. We want to be able to spend money without the bank's permission.
Right.
Well, but the real true sovereignty from a survival level is having access to water and having access to food, that you can control how it's grown, make sure it's uncontaminated, and that you have that at your fingertips when you want it, when you need it. And so one of the things I try to inspire people to do, it's like, you know what? Yeah, get a beach house. Cool. Have a sweet view. Build a mansion if you want, no problem. But have a little nature retreat. Have a farm. Plant it up. Let us plant it up for you. It's one of the jobs that we'll do for people is like, we'll plant up your food forest.
Yeah.
And in 5 years' time, you're going to have more food than you know what to do with. And it's a place you can bring your family, bring your kids, and have a little nature retreat and connect into the earth. And I love going there with my kids. Whenever we go to the farm, we're like, let's go see what's fruiting. We cruise around with buckets, and we're like filling buckets full of like different fruit, and we find something, and we're eating it, and we're crack open a fruit right then and there. We're getting all over our faces, and it's just like, just really getting into it. And I love it.
Amazing.
It's so much fun. And now my kids, like, slowly, they're also at that point now where they're like, they really appreciate it. They're like, Dad, you're actually pretty cool. And for your kids to verify you like that is every parent's dream, whether they admit it or not. And and I love the fact that they get it too. That they're like, oh yeah, I see the value in this.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lack of that in the modern world. People, we take for granted that there's food at the supermarket, and that it's just going to be there.
Right.
And it may not be. I mean, we saw during COVID, like,
right. People were freaking out with toilet paper, right?
And it shocks me that that's the thing people were worried about. I mean, that was just like the biggest joke ever.
Come on, baby wipes. It's way better.
Exactly.
That's what I use.
100%. That's what I use as well. I've been using it for years. And for obvious reasons, we won't go there.
No, this is awesome. No, I want to go back to sustainability, right? So I feel like we're on this track of creating our own gardens, getting our own food. I know a lot of different communities that talk about this online, like off the grid kind of life. There's quite a few people that do that in the US. They form their little tribes or whatever. And it's great, but it's like, to do that in another country or have a country already been doing that, like that's you said their grandmas always, have that farm. And I feel like we miss that a lot due to convenience, right? And due to just like accessibility. And it's just like going back to our roots, going back to nature and nurture kind of deal is like, I feel like we're really missing that in society right now. And I really love that you guys do that, and you do that specifically. I wish more people could do what you do.
Well, I mean, In the States, we really kind of lost it. Like in
Yeah.
Europe, they still have that kind of culture where they all have a little garden in their backyard. They might grow some tomatoes or some
Right.
things, you know. But in the States, we kind of really lost it. We
Mm.
like our lawns. We like a nice. Let's go mow that lawn. Nice
Right.
patch of grass, you know, and like
Right.
chuck a ball on it, you know. But you can't eat that grass.
Nope.
But the truth is, the reason why
Mm.
I love Costa Rica for this type of work
Yeah.
is because in North America it's a lot harder
Mm.
for climate reasons. Basically, like we have these cold winters.
Right.
Like if you want to try to live off the land in the U.S., it's going to be a hard life.
Right.
You're going to be chopping wood. You're going to be carrying water. You're going to be
Right.
pickling. You're going to be storing. You're going to be, you know,
Takes time.
it's a and to grow vegetables, you're going to do a lot of weeding. You're going to need to
Mm.
set up irrigation. You might need to build a greenhouse. In Costa, you don't need any of that.
Right.
You plant out all the trees. There's a lot of trees that grow fruit that you can eat in a savory
Mm.
way. So like there's fruits like jackfruit
Yeah.
that will ripen to a beautiful sweet fruit, but you can eat it green. It's a huge fruit. When you harvest it green, you chop it up, you spice it up whatever way you want. It's delicious. We have
Mm.
avocados.
Love avocados.
And then we have things like even like green papaya.
Mhm.
People forget like, oh yeah, like in Thailand there's like green papaya salad or whatever. But if you have papaya trees, you can just cook up a papaya like it's a squash or a pumpkin. Chop it up, spice it up however you want. It's an amazing vegetable. Also bananas, you can cook those green as well. So there's different ways where you can get that savory. You think like, oh, you just got fruit trees. I'm not going to live on fruit. Well, yeah, I get that because you can't just live on sugary fruits. You need some of that like savory energy.
Right.
And but these tropical food forests, you can get all that at the same time without the need for greenhouses, without the need for weeding, without the need for irrigation.
Yeah.
The land just does it all for you. So once you get it planted out, all you need to
nice.
do is really prune and keep it chopped back
Wow.
and just watch the food happen. So it's a
Wow.
passive farming system
That's so fun.
that generates a huge amount of food without the ton of work. And there's no need to pickle. You still can if you want. There's
Sure.
no need to dehydrate. You still can if you want.
Yeah.
But it's year-round producing because of the tropical environment.
That makes sense.
Whereas in North America, like these people like, oh, I'm going to go homestead in Montana. I'm like,
Good luck.
like, dude, I hope you like chopping wood. You're going to freeze.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it in Montana. So it's really the climate.
Right.
That's the biggest proponent for how you can do what you do.
And also the other thing that people forget too is like access to water. People think like, oh, we just have water. It's just there.
Yeah.
It's actually not that simple. Like, let's say the power grid got turned off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's say you had a great well on your property. Well, how are you going to pump that water? You know, okay, you got solar. How long is that going to last? Okay, maybe 10 years your solar pump's going to work. Okay, you know, like how are you going to get the water to where it needs to go? So what I do is I look for properties that have like gravity-fed spring water or that have creeks that with a lot of terrain where you can pipe water from the head of the creek and get it to your property. So you always have water just flowing where it needs to get.
I love that.
In North America, to have that kind of setup, super hard to find.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a really cold mountainous place, and
Right.
then you can do it. But in places like
okay.
Florida, or you know places where it's warm, like California,
Mm-hmm.
good luck finding that. You know, it's just
Right.
not available.
Yeah, you just can't find a well. And
I mean, you can have a well, but how are you going to get the water out of it? You know.
right. With a bucket, you gotta draw a rope.
Oh well, there's
and-
the
yeah.
shallow wells, but
Yeah.
most people are getting their water from can be hundreds of meters in the ground.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I heard we have a lot of water.
In Florida, you might have those surface wells. You might be able to
Yeah.
pull that off.
Yeah.
So in Florida, maybe something like that is possible. Maybe in Louisiana, where something like that. But
right.
you're living in the flats, you know. Like I don't know. I like Costa Rica.
No, I feel you. I feel you there. But we have these like underground caverns of water, just like pooled.
But
and
usually they're
not
pretty far
accessible.
away.
Right.
They're
They're
deep.
very
They're deep, yeah.
underground. Yeah. So it's interesting.
The
that-
aquifers.
Aquifers, yes. And if we could tap that, I heard that's like one of the purest forms of water you can find.
It is, and most people don't know, but I mean, I mean, most of the places are like Vegas, for example, is pulling from one of the biggest aquifers.
Oh, really?
And it's kind of a problem because they're depleting the water faster than it's coming back. So,
That's not good.
it's this balance, and it's this challenge we're having with the amount of people that are on the planet right now. How to keep all our resources in check and in balance.
Right.
But this also is kind of what the liberal government is trying to use against us. They're trying to push this agenda that like climate change is a reason to take your freedom away,
Right.
which I also don't believe.
Right.
But using our resources wisely is something I do believe in.
Right. Right.
But it's kind of like, it's the guys that are like, oh, you guys shouldn't use energy, but we're flying on our private jets. It's like that whole thing. Like, oh, we'll go to Davos and we'll all sit around and talk about how everybody else should use their energy, but us, like we're too important. We'll be, on our jets, and
Doesn't make sense.
it's not fair, and it's not the way that it should be. There is a way to manage our resources smartly.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we've hired politicians to figure out how to do that, who have special interest groups and lobbyists influencing them how to do that. And in the end, it's not happening because of the system.
Right.
How to change that system, I have no clue. My solution is move to Costa Rica, buy a piece of property, get my own little creek,
There
my
you
own
go.
little spring, and like rely on myself.
You've got your own oasis, right? So, but wait a minute, you're Canadian, right?
No.
No, you
I'm from
are
the States,
from
I'm from New Orleans.
You are
originally.
from New Orleans.
Yeah.
Why did I think you're a Canadian? I'm so sorry.
I don't know.
Because you're so nice. Okay, that makes sense. And I was gonna say the aquifer that they're using in Vegas currently, is that by like the Hoover Dam, like by the big mountains when you first enter Nevada? I'm curious.
I don't remember. No,
Okay.
the Hoover Dam is that's a whole different water source.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Because they're damming up a river. They're damming
Got
up is it the Colorado River? Or
Yes,
whatever.
I think so.
No, the aquifer, it's a huge underground deposit. Yeah.
Okay. Like near Vegas, like near the
It's-
city, or kind of out?
It's
a ways?
I don't know. I don't think it's like right under the city. It's
Okay.
nearby.
Okay. Interesting.
We should actually do a little research and dig into
We
that.
should. I'm like, we're here. That sounds
I can't
fascinating.
100% verify.
Yeah.
Like
'Cause it's
totally accurate, but I know
Okay.
that the gist of the story is true.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely look into it. It's the first time I've ever heard about this. So that's why I was really curious about it. And I'm a big water guy too. I've been following a lot of different water influencers. I know it's kind of weird, but there's
It's interesting.
actual people that are so into water that they teach classes on like not just proper hydration, but like, we're made of over 90% water. We're essentially just water, aquatic little beings that always need to have water, right? So, but yeah, there's actual people that do this full time, and they just teach about the necessity and the importance of proper hydration, and also the types of water that you need to actually put in your body.
The alkalized
The
water.
alkalines, yes. The
And I mean, they're
alkalines, yeah.
programming water with sound, and I mean, it's water is a
amazing.
super hyper intelligent energy.
Yes.
It's incredible stuff. I mean, I
It's
feel
really
like
cool. And it should be free. It should be accessible for everyone.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It is one of the lifebloods of the planet. It's when it's flowing, it's like when our blood is flowing, we're alive. When it stops flowing, we're not. And so it's tricky because there's all these dams and collecting of water, but it's it's resource allocation, and it's kind of important as well with the modern world. But at the same time, it's there's something energetically off about it.
Okay.
So I like to see water flowing freely, and I think there's a way to. I think it would probably make more sense, rather than damming up a river, would be to like channel it into reservoirs and this kind of thing, like have little storage stations and do it more on a local level. But I feel like the thing we take advantage of or take for granted is just remembering that the Earth is alive. In my opinion, it is a conscious entity, and and the way that we interact with it is with the surface of it, pretty much. And that's why I love the story of plants, because it's kind of like, it's the first point of contact. This way the Earth is like speaking to us through plants. And if you see, it's like, there's so much beauty, but each plant has its own properties and qualities and has its own use case. And it's like the Earth is just trying to be like, hey, here I am, everything is here. And have you ever heard that in every microclimate or ecological zone has a complete herbal apothecary. So no matter where you are, there is medicine that can heal you, which I find super interesting and that I love.
Yeah.
So it's the plants, it's the minerals, it's the water. These are the things that the way that we interact with the earth, and we're not separate from it, because without it, we wouldn't be here.
No, we wouldn't. We live in a water world. We're over 70% is just water.
Well, it's interesting. The surface is 70% water.
Right. That's what they tell us in school.
But what's going on further inside? I mean, I don't even know if we really know.
Oh, really? Okay. So it could be more.
It's like we've been told that there's the crust and the mantle and the core and all this stuff, but maybe I don't know if it's like I'm not trying to get conspiratorial about it, but do we really know what's going on in there? Like,
what do you mean, like deep in the water?
Super
even
deep? Below the ocean floor, deeper in like
core?
Okay, we know we're getting oil out of there.
Yeah.
There's oil deposits, and probably we've done geological deposit studies and try to figure out what's in there.
Yeah.
But do we really know energetically, like what's giving life to this planet? Like, what is this soul, that spirit that's living in the planet? And what are the different components of the body that are producing all these things that make the earth itself? Like, like what made all this oil? Is it all just billions of years of composted sun energy? That's one theory. But also, I don't even know if we have all the information.
I don't even know if we know.
I mean, the fact that it generates this air that we breathe and generates this atmosphere that we live in and these blue skies. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, maybe it's flat. I don't know.
Maybe. Well, and it's like, I'm sure you've heard we know more about space than we know about our own oceans, right? Which it blows my mind, because I'm like, why are we spending billions of dollars to go in space when we could take that money and invest in our oceans and our waters and clean it up? And like, in a way, it feels like such a waste,
And what we also forget too is like, there's the whole thing of like, the only time nuclear bombs were used was, in Japan and whatever. But the fact is that we've detonated, hundreds, thousands of nuclear weapons for testing purposes.
I heard about
often
that,
in South Pacific Island nations and like some of the most paradise places on in the planet, we decided to bomb them just to study nuclear energy, and like the amount of damage that we would have done to the ocean and to the ecosystem, and we definitely harmed the people of those nations.
Sad.
It just blows my mind, these are the type of decisions that the people in power are making,
Makes
and
me
continue to
I
make,
know. I don't even want to start with Iran right now, but it's like it makes me even more want to leave the U.S., honestly. And I'm just like, every time I leave, I think I told you the last place I was outside of the U.S. was the Philippines.
Okay.
So I was there. I was in Singapore and then Japan before that, early last year in 2025 now. Yeah, January. I spent all time traveling.
Nice.
And it made me really appreciate living outside the U.S. And I'm like, why can't I do this again? And I did that all through crypto, by the way. I saved up and I just spent, everything was through crypto. It was great.
That's
and
amazing.
it's just like, it really, like, I just got to keep doing that, because I feel so much freer outside the U.S. and I feel so bad saying that, because I do love our freedoms, what we stand for, and I do believe we're definitely one of the more freer countries out there. Like, I would not want to live, let's say, in the UK or anywhere in Europe, honestly. Like, but the thing is, I'm a little biased because I haven't been to those countries. I've just heard. I've spent a lot of my time on the West Coast, because Alaska, right? Australia, on the Pacific side. So I visited a lot of those countries. So I can't say like you, I got to travel around the world and there's one ticket, got to experience all these different lives, because that's cool, because it lets me know I'm not done traveling yet, right? Like I still have more to see. And I think that's part of the reason why I am of what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, like, and where I need to go to kind of keep going and keep moving forward and keep growing as just an individual, as a person. Because yeah, there's like, even meeting you, it's like it kind of establishes that of like why I really want to leave so badly. Maybe to Costa Rica, maybe, I don't know, but it's just, it makes me hunger for that a little more. And it's like, I don't know if you've watched the Steve Jobs, his speech that he did, his famous one.
Yeah.
So at the end, it's like, stay foolish, stay hungry kind of deal. And that's never really left me. And in a lot of ways, I feel like people don't really practice what they preach, right? And it's like, there's only a few people like you, Ben, that actually has done it and have lived to tell the story, which I thought was really fascinating. It's just something that I wanted to get you on to share that story with us today, because I find, your story really special, and I'm really, really appreciative that you're here telling us.
Yeah,
so thank you. Yeah.
Thanks for inspiring the tale to get told. I don't
Yeah.
often tell my stories of travel unless really people ask for it.
Yeah.
And it has to be asked in a way that, like, you really want to know.
Definitely.
And the stories just will like flow out. But I think travel is a great way to learn.
Yeah.
It's a super important way to kind of develop compassion.
Yeah.
And to also develop appreciation for what you have.
Definitely.
And to see, just to really understand what's really going out there in the world.
Yeah.
Without just taking someone else's word for it. And just like, people might be, on the news, like, oh, this place is dangerous, this place is bad. And you go there and you're like, no, actually,
It's not that bad.
this place is amazing, and the people are wonderful, and they're salt of the earth. They're simple, but their smiles might be toothless, but they're rich,
They're happy.
Like,
yeah. Like, I want that happiness,
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I think that's what a lot of people want more than ever now, is just to connect, be a part of a community, and just be happy, And it's like, you don't need money for that, really. Like, you can make all the money in the world, but if you're not happy, like, why are you living? You got to find that happiness, find your true joy. I find, and I think joy is really important, and not a lot of people. I feel like they're kind of missing that part in a lot of ways. Maybe through their screens. I don't know.
Or they're thinking like, I got to work, and then eventually I'll get it.
Right.
But no, it's got to be integrated.
Definitely.
Otherwise, you never really get there. And if you talk to most like really wealthy people, they've got a lot of problems, and they're oftentimes not enjoying their reality as much as comfortably financially they might be.
Yeah.
They're suffering as well. So it's definitely that happy medium of like that middle path of making sure that all aspects of your life are getting nurtured and all the time, and finding what is that balance for you.
Yeah, and I think that starts with self, right? Being aware and seeing like your purpose as well, and going after it. And I love that you were able to do that at such a young age. I think that's really cool. A lot of people, it takes time. And you found it early, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I was hungry for it. I wanted it, and it's all part of that process of like that crystallizing that prayer, and that conviction for, and just like harnessing that energy and just keep putting prayer into it.
Yeah.
And eventually it will come to fruition. It's, for me, I believe that it's worked for me. Everyone's different. Everyone's karma is different. Everyone's path is different. So I'm not going to say that I have the formula, and if you follow it the way I did, it's going to work out for you. No, everyone's got to figure out their own trip.
Right, of course.
And but I can share what worked for me, and it's kind of like all the different religions. I feel like in the end of the day, they're all more or less telling the same story.
Right.
And you can kind of like pick some stories from different religions, and you can integrate those stories and make them a part of yourself, and you don't have to be part of one thing or another thing. You can, we're all just, puzzle pieces in the bigger puzzle, and we're all just pulling it all together and trying to figure out, how we want to express ourselves.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so where can people find you? They want to contact about Secret Keys, get involved.
Yeah,
What's the best way?
secretkeys.art, my website, Secret Keys Costa Rica on Instagram, and Ashara on Facebook. But yeah, those are the easiest ways to find me. And yeah, hit me up. I'm doing free discovery calls for people who want to know about Costa Rica, and if we feel like it's a good fit, then we'll work together.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ben. You're awesome. It was an amazing interview. Thanks, you.
Man, thanks. That was really fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you had a great time. Sorry it started raining all of a sudden.
No, we're about to freeze.
I know, and I'm like, oh, we gotta wrap this
Should we
up.
bring these chairs in?